Good morning and welcome to another one of our QSITE 2015 live broadcasts. This is Amanda Ravlin and Roland Gustafson.
Roland from Melbourne.
Yeah. We form part of the co-chairs for the ACCELN regular broadcasts. And we're doing some just chats with people throughout the conference. And today we have some lovely people on our panel. It's rather large, so how about we get everyone just to do a quick intro, who they are and what brings them here. If you're a keynote, start with, and I'm a keynote. Sounds very cool. It's all right if you're not a keynote. Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah Hobson. I'm an e-learning teacher at Good News Lutheran School. I'm here representing Digital Careers as I'm the Educators Advisory Committee Chair. So it's good to be here.
Lovely.
Thank you.
I'm Clayton. I'm principal of Hermit Park State Primary School, which is located in the city Townsville. And I'm here, I guess, representing principals and the leadership aspect of IT.
And a keynote.
Oh, and a keynote.
Hi, I'm Nicolette and I'm a keynote.
There you go.
There you go. I'm State Manager for Digital Careers with Queensland and the Northern Territory. So I spend my time talking to kids and parents and teachers about the opportunities available to them and how important it is for them to understand digital technologies.
Hi, I'm Nathaniel Samples. I'm a curriculum leader for technologies at the Catholic School in Mount Isa. And this is interesting for me because technologies isn't just ICT anymore. And so it's interesting to link all these things together.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
And I'm Roland, and I drank the coffee that Amanda bought, and I'm the puppet master. So
It's from Victoria, but we'll forgive it for that.
We'll still love it.
So Nicolette, we might start with you. You kind of did a summary of what's the world of work like for us at the moment. Some challenging ideas around can our jobs be automated? Thankfully, teachers still need personal face-to-face interaction. We cannot be yet replaced with robots.
I think it was more of a stay of execution, actually.
I think we're only 49% or something. That's
Yeah.
So it's interesting. What we're seeing at the moment is a huge amount of disruption within not just education, but also the workforce. So this morning, what I wanted to share with people is that we need to be looking at what's going to happen with careers. And you're right, there are a large number of jobs that are at risk. What we need to be doing is making sure that young people are aware of this and aren't planning to go into careers that aren't going to exist in the next 10 to 15 years. We need to consider our reliance on what we're currently doing, what our economy is based on, and start moving away from that and sort of implanting in our students the idea that the world has fundamentally changed. 44% of the jobs that we currently have really are looking to not exist in the next 15 to 20 years. How do we make sure that young people are aware of what their opportunities are? And we need to think about it as an opportunity, not just as a threat. Parents and teachers need to be considering what skills we're teaching our students, and we need to be looking at innovation. How is data going to change things? Where are the drivers for the future careers? If we're going to be looking at careers that give students the best possible opportunities, then we need to be looking at things that engage differently. How is technology changing the way that things work? So if you think about dairies, for instance.
Yeah.
So there's a robotic dairy in Queensland called For Real Milk. They have fundamentally changed not just the way they engage with the wholesalers, so Coles and Woolworths, who they no longer have to engage with, but also how their workforce operates. Cows are now being milked at 2 a.m. They no longer do the 4 a.m. and the 6 p.m. milk. The data they have on
So do humans need to be awake at 2 a.m.?
No.
What?
It's fantastic. So the way it works is there's always one.
so there are advantages to your job getting mechanized. You get to sleep.
It was slipping out.
The interesting thing is the quality of the cattle has improved, the quality of the pastures has improved, and they've diversified. They've created a niche market. So, and it's not just how that's going to impact agriculture. It's every single career. So it's important.
It's interesting to think that I started my original training as a biochemist, had marine biology certification, ended up working in vaccine development, pharmaceuticals, ended up drifting across into explosives, where I worked with Orica, and then during a rural and mining recession, had to reinvent myself as an IT teacher. That kind of career change is what we're going to have to paint for parents. That's quite daunting because they want to pick a career that they feel is stable and will run for the next 50 years for their children. Is that realistic?
Look, I don't think it is. I think what we need to be teaching our kids is more about resilience. It's about broader sets of skills, understanding how not just the world operates, but how industry and business operates. What are the key changes they need to be aware of? So it's about that computational thinking idea. So making sure that kids have the thinking skills, the resilience, the tinkering, the creating, learning that it's okay to make mistakes. And these are the things that are going to give them the robustness to be able to get out and do exactly what you've done. I started in this career. I now need to make career change. What does that look like? What am I interested in? What are the options?
Our careers are full of iterations.
Absolutely.
And lots of testing and failure.
Absolutely. And that testing, that failure, that tinkering is so important to kids understanding that, perseverance. I just got to keep plugging away at this.
And the idea, I guess, that there isn't a set answer in terms of step 1, 2, 3, 4 for a career path.
The right answer.
Yeah, there's no set answer in terms of how you solve a problem with technology or which type of device or system you're meant to use. And one of the things you shared, was you gave the example of, I can't remember the name of the product, the crisis management system developed from Haiti. And
crisis mapping.
Yeah, crisis mapping. And it was just seeing a situation, a problem, and thinking there's an information system solution to this. How can I use existing data to make something to serve a social purpose?
I think you used the bushfires as an example of that yesterday.
So that was one that Jason Zagami used when he was talking about what the solutions that people with systems thinking have the ability to provide. So here's a problem that affects more people than just me. How do we create an overarching resolution to those problems? And I think what we need to be really saying is, how do we use technology? Is it just technology for the sake of technology, or are we using technology to create new opportunities, to create solutions? One of the things we're very keen to see is that students are moving from just being consumers of technology to being creators and innovators of and with technology. So that means it needs to be incorporated across the board. So how do we use it in art? How do we use it in science? How do we use it in English? How do we engage across the board? And I think that's fundamental to the kinds of graduates we need to be having from primary school, high school, then moving into tertiary studies.
I'm pleased to see you nodding in agreement there. Because your session this morning highlighted to me there's a whole new repertoire of skills that need to be emphasised beyond just basic literacy and numeracy. And those skills were pivotal in preparing students for a new world. Do you want to give us a bit of summary about the ideas there?
Yeah, Roland. So very much it's still important to be literate and numerate. But what I would suggest to you is that you need to have a values base to go with that, because if we're generating highly literate and numerate students who aren't prepared to write a letter to the editor, who aren't prepared to go and join their local advocacy group around whatever they choose, and they don't have that belief that they can help the world and adjust the new world, well then what's really the point of having a literate and numerate person?
We're already having problems with that. The number of community groups that struggle to get volunteer leaders for scouts and guides and all sorts of other activities that are really crumbling because there's just not the engagement.
So it's very much around employing pedagogical frameworks that do harness what technology brings with us to set us up for these new careers. So things like collaboration, things like critical thinking, that teach children those type, how to analyse text and how to do that with somebody in Melbourne.
Yes.
You know, like who says that the teacher in the room is the font of all knowledge, or even anyone in the school or in the town that we can link. And as we know, even just simple applications like time and date, where we can log in 4 different countries and it will come up with an appropriate time to log on so that everyone's in daylight.
That begins to redefine perhaps the school day, and not just the school walls.
Yeah.
And I can see also that you're developing not just a resilience, but also an opportunity to ask questions about, okay, I want to engage this new world. And we had the discussion earlier. What are the questions I'm going to ask of my data provider, how they're using my information?
That's right.
And where is the scope of what my workplace is, or when does work stop?
Absolutely. And then it's that work, we get into work-life balance, we get into working with children then around this new world order, around social media and 24/7 availability, and even how to disconnect, and even just recently, like Tony Abbott, as we know, made that comment around the media spin and this constant news cycle, and so teaching children that, you know, how you do work with all that information overload, and to, as we say, be critical thinkers. So I think in our new world order, literacy and numeracy is almost a non-negotiable. It will happen. But then what do we do with that? How do we apply that? And that's where I would suggest to you, that's where collaboration comes on board. How do we, you know, I love teaching. I am a teacher, but how do we get children thinking outside of for our new world order? That there's nothing wrong with being a lawyer, a nurse, a doctor, a teacher, but have you thought about an agronomist that lives in Seattle that works across? Have you thought about being a medical doctor who can live and work in Townsville and use Microsoft Connect to actually operate in China? You know, even a lot of motor vehicles now where it will automatically contact the mechanic and it will the mechanic will know what's wrong before you do and you're driving it. So it is.
Although my car will drive itself to the mechanic.
Well, it eventually will.
And then SMS me back when it's on the way home, and I'll tell it to pick up some milk.
So a classic which I talk to, because I think part of this is capturing the heart of people to convince them that 44% of jobs are gone. And so a classic is our local Blockbuster video store, which is only just across the road here.
It'll be dead in a week or 2.
No, it is. It's gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Already. It's got the sale sign up. Because why?
As soon as Netflix came in, those
That's
things
right.
were just doomed.
So I say to people all the time, you know, when was the last time you made custard? So many people, like I do love custard, so many people, you just go to the shop and buy it.
5 minutes in the thermomix, apparently.
And 5 minutes in.
I get all the out-of-date,
But again, there's
almost
your
out-of-date milk
automation.
out of the staff room fridge.
And it's around that
Those
automation.
people are very uncomfortable about change, and I think parents are, especially. They have a
Absolutely.
tradition of schooling that's they would like to see reproduced with their own kids. Most people think that the way that they were taught was often the best for the next generation.
Absolutely.
How do we move that group on to understanding that the ideas that you valued this morning about collaboration, creativity, and innovation are important, when they're not really part of any metrics on what we're measuring or how we're comparing?
So there's some early signs around metrics. So the work around Maria Langworthy, the PILSR research, PILSR. So it actually does begin to analyse collaborative and as we saw this morning, the 21 CLD framework, through its Creative Commons licence, it's free for us to use as educators. It does actually begin to value creative thinking and it analyses that. But I do think it's around, as a principle, it's around welcoming all of our new families in, being very clear with what we value. So it's that classic 20-second elevator pitch. So at Hermit Park State School, Roland's just arrived from Melbourne. In 20 seconds, can I sum up Hermit Park? That we are a connected and sustainable school. We value collaboration. Yes. So then as a dad, you go, hang on a minute, I thought you taught reading. And you can go, well, we do. But we teach reading via linking with schools in Melbourne and moderating with Bulimba Primary in Brisbane and very much around we are one world. So my answer would be that we have to be very clear as school leaders in what we believe as a 21st century education, have that incredibly crystal clear. We then meet with parents and we sell. We show parents, here's the data. And as I showed this morning, our school achieves very well in all our data metrics. And it is proof amongst many other schools as well that children do learn by sitting on the floor, via the flexible spaces. It's not about sitting in rows and a desk for everyone. Who says we need 25 chairs for 25 children? So
obviously when you became a principal,
yes,
the world was a little bit different.
Incredibly.
So how did you help your teachers and your staff and the school as a community to develop to the ideas that you've shared?
I think key, Amanda, is a no-blame culture. It is just absolutely essential where we are a team, so we use a distributive leadership model instead of a hierarchical. And it is very much around that no-blame culture. It's encouraging people to get out there and have a go. And it is okay to fail. And it's actually, we reflect on that and we probably learn more from failure than goodness. The other one, again, it keeps coming back to those clear values. So let's say, Amanda, you've decided that you're going to work around the new digital workforce and you're going to need $10,000 to buy cameras and that. And I come back to you as principal and go, I can only give you one. So then you immediately go, well, shitters, I've just spent night upon night away from my family planning this to get told really that it can't happen. So it's around, we really only work on 2 projects a year. And at the moment, one of ours is the movement from fixed interactive whiteboards to movable touchscreen LCD on wheels. And that's our project, because I can't afford any more at this stage of the year, but we'll do that and we'll do it well. So it's allowing then people to explore that, and it's okay to come back and go, oh, well, I actually have got it at the front of the room for a while because I'm working on X, Y, or Z. So
one of the things, actually quite a few things you mentioned in terms of supporting teachers was a peer coaching model, but also that element of research. So how does that fit within the projects that you choose to focus on?
Yeah, so the projects very much we choose to focus on come out of initially our data, so questioning each other. So for example, over the last 4 years of NAPLAN, we've missed the analogue time question. So let's look at that. Where's that coming from? So, rightio, we need some more manipulatives. So how are we going to do that, rightio? So how can we do that? We need more resources around that. So rightio, we can jump on the LCD, we can download those apps for them, we can have the individual tablets and things to use them. We then need to provide a PD system of training, and we very much believe in that snowball where we train up experts on our staff and then they train other people. Now, as I discussed this morning, I'm very much a yellow. We don't put timelines on things at all. Mainly, we have check-ins, so don't get me wrong, it's not about just, oh, Amanda, take your time, whatever. We have a check-in every term where you've set a goal, I haven't set a goal, you set a goal, you bring it to the group, and you go, well, we aimed that we're going to have 50% of our kids on board with analogue time, and we've got to 58%. So it's important too, as educators, not to forget to celebrate, because we are in a busy time. So it might be something as simple as a dress-up day, just where all the kids dress up too, but it's important to have fun.
That's a big shift, because he was describing something where teachers are going to be more of a coaching role rather than direct instruction. And you're going to see even more changes like that. Where will parents and politicians and committee members get good advice about how schools will change? Will it be things like the Horizon Report? Will it be reports from your group? Or will we constantly be second guessing for the next 50 years?
That's a very big question, and I would appreciate your input in this as well. I think we have to be, actually, because we interface with industry, we engage with tertiary, and we also look to engage with the schools. What we're seeing is it's a pipeline, and we need to actually be treating it like a pipeline. So what's happening in primary will impact what students are choosing in secondary. And the experience that they have as they move through is what's going to impact their decisions as they finish high school and either become work ready, go through a TAFE or an RTO, or go to university. So what we need to be doing is instilling in them right from prep. And significantly at those I'm good at years, and continue to model and create opportunities for young people to look at things and say, oh, I like that. I enjoyed that. I like that teacher because of the way they engaged with me. I like the opportunities that I can see. And so I think we're all part of that solution, and that's a really important thing for us to all remember. Being driven by committee, I think will work less and less, because we need that collaboration. We need everybody buying into being part of the solution.
For me, I remember Gary Steger once, as an educator, once told me that the tools and the techniques might change, but fundamentally how kids learn doesn't. And I must admit that in my years of teaching, that the things that I can inspire and fuel passion with hasn't changed either. So kids the same. What we're looking at doing is perhaps giving them reasonable inspiration, a clear expectation that they will explore their passions and the things that drive them, and also find them opportunities to inspire them and move the bar up beyond just the basic skills of reading, writing, literacy. And we can do that without dropping the ball.
Oh, absolutely. So Lynn Sharrett very much talks about how you're saying there's lots of research out there around staying the course. So very much when you have the community come in and you set a direction, it's about staying the course, not going after 1 year, oh, well, our data hasn't moved, so we're just going to throw it out and pick up another thing. It's about staying the course. Yeah, the device didn't change the world.
We threw computers in the classroom and they still can't read.
Yeah, so it's around staying the course as leaders and teachers and parents. But the other one, I think, is it's about, as I say, being upfront with everyone around the community beliefs, what they believe, and sticking with that. And resourcing it appropriately and the appropriate PD, and we keep moving along.
I agree with that. I've been talking recently with people about sometimes you just have to keep showing up.
Exactly.
You have to keep showing up. You have to keep saying, this is the message we're trying to get across. We're here to do this with you. This is what we think is important. Right. It will change around the edges, but it's staying the course.
Yep.
Turn up, be committed, show that you're in this for the long haul, not just for the 3 or 4 years that it's a fad.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask something because Amanda and I are both wearing IF t-shirts because there's a conference happening in 2016 in Brisbane, which is going to peel back the dark mystery of learning and glimpse into the future. And I think the question itself, if, makes us think about possibilities. And what both of you have given me is an idea and a glimpse as to the kind of world that I'm preparing my students for. If, and I'm going to throw that to your question to complete that sentence with your vision, and it's just a personal, I'll give you a few moments to think about it, but what kind of question could you ask the future if I was to play this back in 2016 or maybe 10 years time? If.
So,
I can start. So
yeah,
I think
you might have to.
Yeah. Examples.
I can rattle one off.
If I could make,
Sharing.
if I could inspire my students to make the world a better place, what kind of world would it be like?
Yes. So I'd like to, for me, playing this back in 15 years, that we have encouraged our students to be active and participating in their society.
Yeah.
and continuing learners. So I think as teachers, we need to be demonstrating all the time that we don't have the answers either, that we're part of it, we're all learning together, and we will continue to learn. But what I would like to see is my students are active participants. They're not just passive. You know, they will question, and they will question it respectfully, and they'll question it openly and look for an answer, and not just give up at the first hurdle, but they will do that in a nice manner, as I say, and continue to change the world and advocate for a better world.
I love that. The passion and drive. Thank you.
Absolutely.
For mine, if I was looking back at this in 5 years' time, I would like to start to see students taking appropriate risks. So the opportunity to question, I think questioning is enormously important, and doing it respectfully. But if I didn't do it that way, how would I do it? If I couldn't do it using that tool, what tool would I create? If I had the chance to change a landscape, engage differently, how would I do it? So for me, it would be the opportunity to step out of what's the norm and consider the realm of possibilities.
Yeah. Awesome.
If teachers had the opportunity for more mentoring, how far could they go with their students?
Wow, teacher professional development, and we're always crying for it. And sometimes for all the initiatives I've seen,
And I
with
think
teachers,
the
I think
answer
with
to it-
students.
The answer to it is for us who have taken the step to try all of these things, we need to then give back to the professional community and mentor others.
Yeah.
And do it respectfully.
And
Yeah.
I like that coaching that you talked about.
Yeah.
You know, quite often we don't have the opportunity to be mentored because the person that we look to for that mentoring is not available, or we can't remove the principal hat
that's
or the
right.
manager hat.
Yeah.
So creating communities that support one another and do that peer mentoring or coaching.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think you guys really summed up the sort of thing that I would be really looking to see is, I guess, if we have succeeded, I guess, then we will see people who are, questioning, that don't give up, that are willing to bash their head at a problem and look for alternate routes and solve something. It's something that I've really valued in my experience, and something that I've always valued in people that I've worked with. That drive to it's not even a success drive. It's a drive to do the thing right and properly, and to attack that problem and solve it. So.
Mine is yellow. Is, I guess, if empathy was what guided our decisions and our purpose for education, what kind of future would that create?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's very yellow. I like
Very
it.
yellow,
Yeah, I
Very
like
good.
it.
There you go.
Well, thank you for joining us, and a wonderful thank you to our special guests today.
Yeah.
It's
Thank you.
been wonderful to have you join us for this great,
Lovely.
chat, and thank you to the few people that have been watching online as well.
We should show off our creation.
Yeah.
Oh yes, this is one of the most
Yes.
creative groups that we've had.
Yes.
Come on a minute, let's go this.
Sure.
We'll have to see.
Well, I've
This is what a
actually
group can
made,
do with pipe cleaners on the table with some creative leading educators, and this is a group construct.
I've actually made a couple of gifts.
Oh,
for our
look at
heroes.
that.
So this is a yellow question,
Oh, beautiful.
and I did make you a flower first, but then I'm like, no, he's a cow.
Thank you for my robotic dairy. I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Maybe at ACCE 2016 we could do it with balloon toys.
Maybe
Yeah.
challenge accepted, I guess.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Love
Thank
it.
you.
Okay.